Hello, my friends, and welcome to Italy, a place to love YouTube channel in Russia. Here I am. So, today's video is about one question that had been asked to me a few times. Road is not even. And so, if and the question is if I would live here in Russia. So that's not really an easy question to answer because always, obviously, there are many factors. It's not that I can say yes straight away or not straight away. Anyway, if I have to give an answer overall, actually, I would say by percentages, as I always used to say, because I'm always saying things in percentages. I'd say that 70%, hello, 70% yes. Oh, I said hello instead of привет. Anyway, so I would say 70% yes, I would live in Russia, 30% no. Obviously, maybe I can even say 75 yes, 25% no, but obviously because there are things that 25% is about the things which I'm not familiar in Russia. And for example, in this 25% that it says no, I would put a lot the language, because obviously it's not easy to live in a place where the level of the language, let's say, is quite low. Even if I have a basic knowledge of the Russian, I'd say it would take me at least 2 years before I would become a tiny bit, not tiny bit fluent, let's say fluent. It will take at least around 2 years. Anyway, that's the thing. And then what else I can say? That the 75% of me that would live here, it's because technically it's mainly financial, because now I'm not working. Has been a while that I'm not working. I stopped working 1.5 years ago, so it's 1.5 years that I'm out of work. And so I won't go back to work straight away, even if I'm moving here. The advantage here for me is a financial reason, because obviously here in Russia, let's say I started kind of investing a few years ago, more than 5 years ago, and technically I could live here without working and generating an income, because the properties, okay, which I've invested, and also because the money in the bank account. Now, we all know the situation in Russia described by the mainstream media and so on. Okay, but if I want to put it just from the financial point of view, so in Russia at the moment the banks are giving nearly 20% interest. Or here, let me stop 1 second because this is very important. I think in the West, people are brainwashed by these interest rates. There are these dogmas, there are these stereotypes about interest rates have to be low, have to be low. They repeat it in the television as a mantra, which I totally disagree. I think our financial system is not doing well. I'm talking about the Western, simply because they keep interest rates so low. But these deserve, believe me, not only one video. It needs at least 5 videos just to explain why this policy of keeping interest rates very low, it's a total disaster for the economy. from my point of view. It's a total disaster. So here the banks are giving 20% interest, 21, 22. Now let's say, let me sit 1 second. Oh, here I haven't shown you, I don't know, I never focus on showing the houses around. I haven't focused, anyway, who cares? I will always find, I don't know if I will find the time anyway. Time is passing by so fast. Yeah, anyway, it's a beautiful area. I'm actually on the river here. There's a lovely walk on the river. It's a lovely and sunny day. People are swimming. So people are coming here, even if it's 5 p.m. at the moment. I'd say, let me show you 1 second. Okay, that's over there. That's the center of the town. As you can see here, there is another rental area where they rent these pedal boats. But let me go back to this topic that in Russia, banks are giving more than 20, no, they're not giving more than 20% interest. Let's explain. First of all, yes, interest rates by the Russian central bank are at 21%. They actually cut just 1% recently because interest rates were at 22% and now they've been cut to 21. Let me show you a bit around. So this is what I want to do. See, if I'm living here, I would constantly do this type of sports, which are very, very nice. Anyway, in many cities, many major cities, I would have my own kayak, I don't know what you call it. I love water sports, anyway, all type of water sports, kayaking, swimming, and so on. Anyway, here we are not far from the city center. Anyway, people are enjoying, feeding the ducks, and so on. Going back 1 second to the fact that interest rates are, okay, let me sit 1 second. All right. Interest rates, because I'm serious, you know, I always like talking about investing, economy, and so on. Actually, always like how to live without working. When I'm saying without working, I'm always saying, referring to use the brain and try to do investments and tradings. But anyway, so we have this 21% by the Russian central bank. All right, okay. Then if you are bringing fresh money to Russia, if you are able to open a bank account in Russia, and so on, the banks are giving between 18-19% if you're bringing fresh money. If the money is not fresh, I mean that you have already brought fresh money, you have invested, and then the investment expires. If the investment expires, so they might give you 14, 15, 16, up to 17%. Which is very, very, very good. I love this about Russia, okay? Then you might say a lot of questions, it's a disaster, but anyway, then things should be explained, not in one video, not in two, not in three, not in four, not in five. You need 10 videos and you need knowledge of the economy. So, again, now let's say, for example, that I'm able to move, had been able to move 100,000 euro, okay? Just to give you an example. So if I have moved 100,000 euro, and just to make the calculation easy, then it's not really precise, but if I put 100,000 euro, 100K invested here in the bank, so every year at 20%, I have 20,000 euro. Okay, now 20,000 euro is 2 million rubles. Okay, now I'm trying to give you a conversion. 2 million rubles is, so let's say roughly 100,000 euro, 100,000 K, it's around 10 million rubles. All right. So then if I get the 20% interest, I get 2 million rubles a year, 2 million rubles a year, which is much more than an average salary. Okay. So an average salary in Russia is about, don't know, 600,000 rubles, 700,000 rubles, can be even up to 1 million rubles. Okay. So, but 1 million rubles, which is 10,000 euro, can be, it's already a good salary here, in particular because I'm not in Moscow. Also, the salaries are changing in Russia, are not the same for all the republics or for all the oblasts. So this is just to give you a bit of knowledge about Russia. So basically, if I can generate an income of this amount of money a year without doing anything, only from the interest rates from the bank, then I would say, wow, yes, that's fantastic. So overall, this is one of the main reasons why I would live here. So simply because I will have the chance to invest in properties, to have returns. Then, for example, a lot of people might say, oh, but soon the Russian banks will collapse. Then anyway, everyone is free to say whatever you want. You need to study the subject. I mean, before I'm saying that a country is gonna bankrupt, that a country is gonna collapse, I have to study deep how that economy runs. Okay, so at the moment I say there's no nation in the world that doesn't have problems at a financial level. We can go from China, United States, India, Japan, Europe, whatever, Australia. All the countries are having huge problem with quantitative easing. That's why I'm against, for example, very low interest rates. They're pushing people for debt, so money costs nothing, more liquidity, high inflation because more money into the system, more inflation, and so on. So these are generally my financial reasons. Again, to move here, simply to move here because I don't have to work. Then I would even happily find a job because let's say there are so many jobs, as I said in one of my videos, there are so many jobs that it would be nice even just to keep a bit busy, with the job. Then anyway, what else I like? I like because it's not a stressful society. This is a part of another reason why I would live here. I see people very relaxed, and this is what I like. I can show you, for example. You can see a family with a child over there, everyone with children. Hey, you, say hello. All right. Okay, better I'm not showing Lena in Russia. Привет! Anyway, so life here is quite easy and relaxed. This is what I like. And then what else? For example, one of the reasons, now me and my wife, we don't have children, but let's say that this is another very, very important reason for me to move here. I would move straight away if me and my wife, we find out that we are going to have a baby. So if I know that my wife is pregnant, if I know, so if we are going through this beautiful thing, I'd say I would move straight away. First, because I wouldn't like my wife. I mean, I prefer my wife to be in their own hospitals, to be familiar with her own language. So it's her that has to give birth. I would like her to give birth in Russia, first of all, simply because then I'm not very happy about the Italian health system. I prefer here. Anyway, here health system is free. Anyway, we can go to a private. We just went to a clinic. I booked for a blood test. I've done a few exams here because, but still, we went to a private clinic, okay? And we are paying the service, but you can go to the public and it's totally free, okay? Anyway, families and children everywhere. Anyway, and this is not really, but this area here where we are with these beautiful houses over there, um, as I show you in front of the river here, it's only 5 minutes walking from our house. So technically, I saw even people swimming here. Technically, I can even come here during the summertime to swim. During the winter, no, this it freezes completely. So this river, I saw even when I came in the winter time, I saw uh, anyway people fishing in the middle of the river. They make the holes and so on. Anyway, the thing is that, anyway, yes, I would like my wife to give birth here rather than in Italy. I prefer the education system here rather than the education system in the West. I would totally stay away to educate my child in Italy or in any other country in Europe. Anyway, this is my understanding. This is my way of thinking, you know. I'd rather give to the child some kind of values, and then when the child is an adult at 18, 19, he does whatever he wants. I'm for the total freedom, but I'm against giving a kind of education to the children when they are very young, 5, 6, 8, 10, up to 16, 18. For me, children shouldn't be at all, anyway, misguided. Let's say, for me, it's about, I would use this word. Then someone can disagree. I don't care. Leave the children with them. I mean, leave the children alone, okay? Don't brainwash them with any of these modern things that they're trying to show that are normal. After 18, everyone does whatever they want. To have a child, everyone was born from a man and a woman. Then, if you find me someone who was born between two men or two women, that's another story. But this is my opinion. And what else I can say? Here, there's another benefit because for each child, the government, okay, which is very supportive towards the family, is giving 6,000 euro per each child. All right. So now, I'm not coming here just for this reason. No, I would come here simply because I prefer the way the children are educated here in Russia. Then this is my way of understanding. If I'm free to choose the way I like, if I'm still free. Then anyway, they're giving this money. They're giving 600,000 rubles, which is 6,000 euro per each child. Now, just to close the video, okay, 6,000 euro per each child, it's a good amount of money. That helps to buy the nappies, milk, you know, these type of things. Let's say they consider this money to buy the basics for the children. Okay, they might last 1 year, 2 years, 3 years for the child, but it's something that at least the government is giving. Okay, I can take Italy as an example. In Italy, they don't give anything unless you have a job and you might have a tax relief on your salary because you have a child. Wow, fantastic. Okay, but they don't give you anything for a child. But anyway, this is seen here is a huge help from the government. So the government is not seen as an enemy here in Russia. Okay, believe me, you might not even pay the bills, and the government is not cutting off your electricity. Believe me, it's at this level in Russia that you might not even pay the bills, and you will still have electricity. And they won't even come in and charge you. I mean, they might accumulate this debt anyway, but they are not cutting your electricity. Then anyway, if you have some money, they will find a way to take this money. But again, there are poor families which are not paying for the electricity, as nobody is cutting off their electricity or gas, anyway, anything like that. All right, my friends, so I see many reasons why I would move here, but for now, let's say no. For now, in the future, I'm always interested. Obviously, I'd love to move to here in a situation where there are no sanctions, where there's no war, where there's no special military operation. Let's say where things are fine. Let's say if things are fine, if I can freely move money from Italy to Russia, which I'm not allowed now, okay, and so on and so forth. Anyway, my friends, this is today's video. I hope you have enjoyed. Let me show you a bit around. Few seconds. All right. From Yoshkar-Olá, that's the bank of the river. Okay, land, we can go. Let me walk and keep talking. You know what? I don't like much this video because I was talking too much. The video, I'm still recording, okay? I'm still saying the video is too long. I wish I would have made just a 10 minutes video. That's why. Huh?
It's fine if you're chatting.
Children everywhere. Anyway, my friends, so I wish you a lovely day from Italy, a place to love YouTube channel. Bye.